everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today, you read the thumbnail, you seen what it is. We're doing horses, but for this one we're just going to do colorless white and blue for these. And I wanted to break it up because, you know, the more of a tribe you have, the more you got to kind of show it off. So I wanted to split these up into two so that we didn't get too much in the first couple of videos. But without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into it, starting off with our artifact based horses. Chrome Steed, 4 colorless, it's a 2/2, and it has Metalcraft, so it gets +2/+2 as long as you have 3 or more artifacts, which horses are a well-rounded color tribe. So if you play like 3 color horses or 2 color horses, you could probably get the mana rocks out there to where you could probably make this a 4/4 on curve. So, you know, that's pretty decent. Diamond Mare for 2 colorless. It's a 1/3, and it's the Diamond Knight. Choose a color whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color. This is one of those old artifacts on a body that used to like it was the tooth. It was like it was specific ones, and now it's like whatever you want to choose it. But you got to choose one though. But if you make a copy of this, you can get all the colors of the rainbow. Sounds nice. Clockwork Steed for 4 colorless. It's a 0/3, but it enters the battle. It comes into play with 4 +1/+0 counters. Those are different. But this also feeds into a counter theme deck where it's like multiple different kinds of counters, because those are +1/+0 counters. But to continue on this card, it can be blocked by artifact creatures, so you know you can beat your buddy's artifact deck to death. Or you can pay X, tap it, put up to X +1/+0 counters on it. This ability can't cause the total number of +1/+0 counters to be greater than 4. So I mean, you can keep removing them for whatever reason you're going to give a +1/+0 counter, but you can keep putting back on them, which is pretty cool. Bronze Horse for 7 mana. It's a 4/4 with trample. It's a 7 mana 4/4 with trample. And if you control another creature, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it by spells that target it. So it's kind of like a mono red hate card, kind of sort of, because you're dealing damage to it. Yeah, whatever. A Crowing Horse for 4 mana. It's a 0/4. It's a defender, and whenever it enters the battlefield, an opponent gains control of it. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Now, for tribal horses, I personally probably would not include this, because you're breaking theme with giving the soldiers out to everybody, and you're giving your horse away. But you know, if you're playing just to the politics theme of horses, it's pretty good. Workhorse for 6 mana. It's a 0/0, but it comes into play with 4 +1/+1 counters. So you know, this one right here, this is something that you would want to like put in a proliferate deck where, all right, yeah, it's 6 mana, but if you can proliferate it to death to where it's like 1,000,000 +1/+1 counters, it's pretty fucking dope, because you can just keep taking colorless mana from it. I hate how the artwork, and maybe it's just me, but the artwork signifies 4 different colors. I don't even see black. That's kind of offensive. But he's got 4 different colors in that in the stomach. I don't know what you would call that on a artifact creature, but it's 4 colors of mana that represented. But you can only remove a counter to get a colorless mana. So I don't know. It's weird. It could have been something different. And now we move into our white based horses with Armored Warhorse. So for double white, you get a 2/3, and that's it. It's a double white 2/3. But for 2 mana, it's not bad, even though it's like color specific. And you're going to have to forgive me because I don't think I'm saying this right. Hipparion? Something like that. But for 1 and a white, it's a Summon Hipparion, which is a horse now. It's a 1/3. Cannot be assigned to block any creature with power 3 or greater unless you pay 1. This is definitely one of those effects where you don't see it often, and it's definitely not any better now. Especially if you got to pay more to chump block a big, huge creature. Trenching Steed for 3 and a white. It's a 2/3. It's a creature horse that's been eroded to a rebel. From a rebel to a horse. Sacrifice a land, it gets +0/+3 until end of turn. I mean, it feels you're like, if you're wanting to throw lands in the graveyard, I guess. You know, it's not bad, because you can just keep doing it forever. And you become a good blocker for like an Eldrazi or something. Not bad. Kelith Sunmane Familiar. For 1 and a white, it's a 1/1 legendary creature horse. Whenever a commander you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So, this would probably go good in a Ozolith Lathril base deck. I think that's the one where you get all the counters. And it's Abzan. They work pretty well with these. But, nonetheless, I do digress. This is not a bad, partner to commander up if you got what is her name? Black green. I can't remember at the moment. But yeah, if you're doing Abzan counters, this would be great. Shieldmare for 1 and 2 white. Can't be blocked by red creatures. And whenever it enters the battlefield or becomes the target of a spell or ability, you gain 3. So it's a 2/3. Can't be blocked by red. And it has to be the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls. So I don't know if you could get that to be definite, but I mean, there are abilities and spells. There are creatures enchantments. They're enchantments. Let's say if something would target or deal damage, it would be dealt to this creature. But you'd have to have a way to keep it alive forever. No, food for thought. Here's the bestest one, the strongest of horses, the pinnacle of ponies. Crested Sunmare for 3 and 2 white. It's a 5/5, so it's already on curve and on power. Other horses you control have indestructible, so you already know this is going to be in the deck. No matter what, if you're playing horses, this has got to be in the deck. If you got white, it's got to be there. Because not only does it make your horses indestructible, but it makes a horse if you gain life. And most of these horses, if you play in a life gain theme, it's going to be there. This is a auto include if you're playing horses. If you're not going to play white, then you don't need to build horses. I'm just saying, this is my personal opinion. You can take it how you like. But white black horses with life gain, sign me up. Phantasmal Mount for 1 and a blue. It's a 1/1 illusion horse, which it looks like a tiger and a horse mixed together in a merfolk. Looks like a strange chimera love child, but it has flying, so it's not that bad for a 1/1 for 2. But you can tap it. Target creature you control with toughness 2 or less gets +1/+1 and flying until end of turn. Whenever it leaves play, sacrifice that creature. When this creature leaves play this turn, sacrifice Phantasmal. Okay, now hold up. Let's break this down. Target creature you control, it's a tap ability. It gets +1/+1, gains flying until end of turn. It untaps. When Phantasmal Mount leaves play this turn, sacrifice that creature. So you're bonding that creature to a Phantasmal Mount. I don't know if I'd want that. Pass. Breaching Hippocamp. Another merfolk fish. Fish horse. Seahorse if you must. For 3 in the blue, it's a 3/2 horsefish with flash. It's a speedy horse, a seahorse. When Breaching Hippocamp enters the battlefield, untap another target creature you control. So it's not bad, if you got untap shenanigans with the fishes and the horses. Don't try to ride this steed unless you've got gills too. That's pretty on point. I like that flavor text. Cobbled Lancer for 1 blue. It's a 3/3 zombie horse, and it's just cost to cast the spell. Exile a creature card from your graveyard just to cast it. If you're going into blue for horses, I'm sorry, you ain't got a lot, and not all of them are good. A lot of them ain't, especially this one, and it's a zombie. I'm talking shit about it, but yeah. I mean, you know, if you're desperate for blue horses, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah. But it does have an ability for 3 and a blue. Exile it from your graveyard, and you can draw a card for 4 mana. That's way out there on curve. Surge Mare, another horsefish. For 2 blue, it's a 0/5, can't be blocked by green creatures, and whenever it deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. It's a loot. So, and for 1 and a blue, it gets +2, -2 until end of turn. So if you got a green player and you really just want to stick it to them, this would be it. Wave Break Hippocamp. This is probably one of my favorite of the seahorses, because for 2 and a blue, it's 2/2, and whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. This is like a blue player's favorite seahorse. Like, this is the only reason why they're going to the sea, so they could find this creature and be like, yep, me and you are best friends now, because we're going to draw cards together. Yep. It's pretty good. I have this in a Orvar deck. It's pretty cool. Cosmos Charger for 3 and a blue. It's a horse spirit. 3/3 flash flying. And for telling cards from your hand, costs 1 less and can be done on any player's turn. So as long as you have this out, if you're playing like a Vega the Watcher deck, that's pretty decent. Because not only can you do it on your turn, you can do it on their turn. Like in response to somebody wanting to look at your hand, you can be like, oh, nope, pass. You ain't gonna see what that is. Surprise later. And you can foretell this for 2 and a blue. So, you know, not bad. Phantom Steed for 3 and a blue. It's a 4/3 horse illusion with flash. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile another target creature you control until it leaves the battlefield. So it's kind of like a board wipe protection. Whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the exiled creature, except it's an illusion in addition to its other type. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. So yeah, let's go to combat, flash this in. Oh wait, I just bounced my Ulamog into exile, and now I get a token copy to swing with it every turn. And if you got like token copy shenanigans, you got to make sure you make them illusions and they're non-legendary. But nonetheless, this is still pretty good. You made like a really big creature. But I think this is the right order. That's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching. Come back for part 2 where we cover the black, red, green, and the newer horses from I think it's the Lord of the Rings set that they came out in. Yeah. But like I said, that's going to be it for today. I really appreciate y'all watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. If you've been watching this long, why not subscribe? You've been sticking around this long. Help a brother out. But that's going to be it for today. And I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.